And we're good to go.
Great, thanks, Dave. Good morning. This is the convening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. We're holding this meeting virtually, so we will conduct our roll call. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning, I am here.
Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Good morning. I'm
Good
here.
morning. Great, thank you. Good morning, Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning.
Good morning, and Commissioner Maynard. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we'll get started. Good morning, Trudy. I see you there. I know, Commissioner Maynard, that you wanted to address we won't have minutes today. Is that right?
Yeah, we're all caught up except for the last meeting, and I had something come up, and we're just going to roll those over.
That's right. Okay. So we'll get started on the agenda planning. Commissioners, you have the anticipated meeting schedule. Is there anything that you're concerned with with respect to those dates? My camera seems to be doing something funky. Does it look funky? Does it look okay to you?
You're a little blurry today, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder why. I kind of feel a little blurry. No, just joking. I'm glad that it's that and not my eyes. So if there's any trick to that, I'll let Mills let me know, but I'm here and not as blurry as I look. Okay. So we've got December 7th coming up right on Thursday. And we will be having the quarterly reports. We'll turn right to December 14th. I know we have a 9:30 start, and Commissioner O'Brien, I think you noted that you do have a little bit of an early departure. So I'm thinking of you for agenda order. So let's just keep that in mind as we go through today. Got a bunch of minutes, Commissioner. First, we'd have an administrative update. And Todd, did you want to go over those?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. The one thing I thought would be timely for administrative update purposes on the 14th would be an update from Dr. Lightbound as to the end of the racing season and an overview of how everything went, as well as a brief discussion of the annual report that will be filed relative to the racing operations. So if everyone is so inclined, we'll be ready to do that on the 14th.
Okay.
So is that item 11 that you're going to move? That'll be under administrative update?
That's right. He's under administrative update.
Okay.
The only concern would be is if that makes the day go a little bit later.
Right.
We can take that into consideration, Todd, where it comes under the report. Okay.
Yes, we will.
And did you also want to just briefly bring everybody up to date on that Thursday about the insurance policy as well?
I'd be happy to. That's not urgent. I can do that at a later meeting. The thought just was it might be helpful at some point just to mention the terms and conditions of our directors and officers insurance policy coming up for renewal in late January. We have been working with our broker to renew that, and I'd be happy to talk a little bit more about it at an upcoming meeting. I can do it on the 14th, but we can also do it at the following meeting if that would be helpful.
Okay, let's just make a note of that then for the next meeting, because I think the 14th will be pretty busy. Okay. Then we have Commissioner Maynard. Bunch of minutes.
Well, I would say we have March 8th and March 9th. I have finalized.
Okay.
I know that I gave some dates that were later in March, the last agenda setting meeting. That said, they're still not finalized.
Okay.
I would hold them on there just in case we do get them finished.
Yep.
But I know March 8th and March 9th are complete.
And these are extensive minutes. So, all right, we'll just keep them on. And then, of course, we can roll them over. No problem.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. The legislative update, we hope for maybe that legislative letter. And I know, Todd, you're busy working on that draft for us after some good meetings.
Yes, I've had some brief discussion with Commissioner Hill. I think we'll be ready to go for the 14th on that.
Okay, thank you. And then Todd, I've got regulation numbers here. They are may or may not be accurate. Forgive me.
I
see
don't think
Kate-
they are, but yeah, we'll let Caitlin address that.
Okay, excellent. Thank
The
you.
regs that we have on for a final vote on the 14th are 238.12 and 258. We continue to work on 205 CMR 15, so I'd like to take that off for the 14th, and we'll add it back on as soon as we're ready.
So take off 15, and it was 238. That might have been a typo. My
Yeah,
apologies.
238.12.
Yeah. And then 258. I looked at it and I didn't look familiar just now, so thank you. And then we'll just hold on 15. Okay. And if you decide you want the under review, just let me know. Okay. Any other regs?
That's it for the 14th, unless anyone else from legal has anything.
Okay. And then we turn to you, Commissioners O'Brien and Maynard, on the mission statement.
Yeah, I think we're ready to go and present it.
We will send that over for the,
So how does that work? Do we see that in advance or I never understand that rule?
Don't know because we were involved, and I leave this to legal, whether we're going to have, this might be one of those, we give it to you on the 14th and then we kind of take a vote on it the next time, so you all have a chance to digest it. I think we might have to do it that way.
So maybe then we think about that for our calendar too, commissioners, right? So
Yeah. So that'll be a
Maybe-
really short, this is more a presentation
of the document itself, and then maybe the January 4th, the adoption of it.
that makes, yeah,
And
that would,
you would get input from us at the 4th.
yeah. And if it's substantive enough that it needs more time, we can go out another meeting.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. All right, thank you. And then you're also with Chief Muldrew involved on the internship program. How are you on?
yeah, I would call that more of an update. As I said last time, I think that, it's not as prime time. It's definitely not as prime time as the mission statement is. So, but we're happy to give you an update of where we are and what we've done on that date.
Okay, and I see Troop D's there too, so I will.
Yep. She's done a lot of work, a lot of good work on it.
Okay, I'll make sure to include you, Troop D. So
Thank you.
it's an update on our notes. That's how I'll put it on the agenda, commissioners. Okay. All righty. Then we turn to sports wagering. Good morning, Bruce. And team, I guess it's actually starts with maybe those waiver requests. So it's Director Ban and then Attorney Monahan. I'm forgetting who.
And I anticipate we'll have Attorney Macarius on that too.
Yes.
Can you remind us where we are on that, Caitlin?
Sure. So there was one waiver request, a 257.02 subsection 3, where DraftKings was given an extension through, I want to say the 15th. And so they were going to come back to the commission with additional information about whether they needed or they were going to request additional waiver time. And then there were a number of requests related to 257.04 that basically didn't get to and rolled over to this meeting. And so that's what's left for discussion by the commission.
And just as an update, DraftKings does not have an additional waiver request.
Oh, they've withdrawn that?
They think that they can comply with the original waiver.
So the 0.02 subsection 3, Crystal, we can take that off.
Just
Oh,
triple check, but I believe so.
and I'll add your name to
Yep.
this issue. Take it, and so they've withdrawn that request. Okay.
They won't be requesting an additional waiver. So Caitlin, can you just remind me, did the commission vote on their original waiver? Because it's just for there won't be an additional request. They had put in a waiver on that.
If memory serves, the waiver went out through the 15th in order
Correct.
to give the opportunity for additional time if requested. So I think the waiver would expire on the 15th if there's not going to be any request.
I'll confirm today, Chair, and then if it's going to be on the agenda, I'll let you know for sure. But I believe they're good to go.
Oh, okay, so it's 15th of this month, and that was a universal waiver, right, Caitlin?
I think you're right. Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that just leaves the outstanding ones that we didn't get to, commissioners, for 257.04, and Crystal, I'll add your name there. And I know you all are working in concert. Thanks. Anything else on that? All set. Okay, then we turn to sports wagering, Bruce, and I think
Yeah.
that's a house rules issue or question request.
Yeah, that is pending a information sheet from GLI on one of the progressive wagers.
Oh, so you mean,
We're waiting on a
certification. The house rule updates are going to be pending a GLI certification. Even if the certification may come at the end of this week, however, we'll keep the commission apprised as we move along the week.
okay, so we'll keep it on, and then if it turns out you need more time, we'll roll it over. Okay.
Yeah,
excellent.
correct.
Thank you. And Andrew will be there, right?
And as of right now, the 90-day audit is on.
Okay. And Christian will be there to,
Yeah.
all righty. And then item number 10, that's Dr. Lightbound. Dr. Lightbound, I know that you haven't been feeling well, so thank you for appearing today.
Oh, thank you.
There's our office has apparently been hit quite hard with all kinds of stuff. So I hope everyone who is not feeling great is on the mend. So thanks.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, I can hear it. Dr. Lightbound, are you going to share your voice with us?
Yes, yep. All good. We're ready to go on the simulcast and premium free and account wagering approvals.
Okay, great. And then I know that just talked about the racing annual report. Do you have a sense, Dr. Lightbound, about timing on either of those? Just I'm thinking of Commissioner O'Brien's day.
Yeah, we were realizing that this was a full meeting, and the annual report doesn't have to be voted on by the commission. So we thought that maybe it would make sense, rather than, obviously we don't want to read the entire report to the commission, maybe put it under the administrative update, and Chad and I just do a very brief, high level on the annual report. This is for 2022. And, I would say, maybe take 10 minutes at the most. And, just if the commission wanted, do the high level and then say that it, will be posted on the website for anybody to view. And then, the update on this season, again, very brief, maybe 5-minute from me, just saying that, the meet is concluded and how it went.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And we don't want to shortchange you. That's the main thing, Dr. Lightbound. So it's what you're comfortable with. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Chad and I are comfortable with that.
Okay,
If
good.
that works for the commission as well.
Commissioners, sounds good. Good. Alrighty. Then we're moving on to a report on diversity, and Niswa, do I see her? I see John Scully. There he is. Are you all set for that, or do you need more time, John?
All set. I think it's going to be short and sweet, about 10 minutes. We'll just give an update on where we're at diversity-wise for MGC.
And that will reflect what we saw maybe at the GPAC meeting a bit? Or is it an update?
It's an update on our current diversity spend numbers, and there may be some information following up on the GPAC, as you said.
Okay, good. But it's mainly on spend.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that, commissioners? All righty. Well, thanks, John. And then turning to IEB, you've got a couple of matters here. One had been rolled over from last week or 2 weeks ago. Heather, the non-compliance matter for DraftKings.
Yeah, that's right, Chair. We're estimating that will probably take less than a half an hour, and Zach will be ready to do that on the 14th.
Okay. And what action will we be taking?
I think that this particular meeting will be the meeting where essentially Zach will brief the commission on the non-compliance matter, and the commission can determine how they would like to proceed. Whether, they'd like to send it back to the IEB or to go forward with an adjudicatory proceeding.
And those are our two options. Okay, excellent. Thank you. And then
I'll note that there's technically a third option that the commission has not chosen to take up at this point. Pursuant to the statute, the commission can actually hear the initial presentation, decide on a fine at that point in time without an adjudicatory hearing, send a notice out, and then there can be an appeal that goes through an adjudicatory proceeding. It's not a process I would have necessarily designed, but it is the process in the statute, so it's technically an option.
thanks for that clarification. Commissioners, all set for that for next Thursday? All right, thank you. And then the ESPN matter, and I'll have Heather remind us where we are and
Right.
that's where we're going. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. We do have the review of the Penn ESPN documents that Penn has provided in follow-up to our previous meeting. And there are some other elements that I think are, important to note. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Caitlin for that piece of it.
Thanks.
Sure. So since the last time we talked about this, there's been a development in that Penn, Mr. Soriano at Penn has informed us that when when PPC requests its renewal of its temp license, which will be coming up very soon, it will also be requesting to move forward with an adjudicatory hearing for durable suitability for the PPC license, for the Cat 1 license. And so the reason why that's relevant here is that there are two ways in which the commission could decide to review the information it has received about the ESPN deal. The first would be to review that information in a meeting on the 14th, potentially, review the information, ask questions, and look at it in that time. The second option would be to hold that and review it as part of an adjudicatory hearing for durable suitability, which I would anticipate would happen in January. And that way, because this information is relevant to suitability, you would sort of do it all in one meeting, do it all at the same time. But either is an option for the commission. The one other thing I will raise is that in an executive, I can't get into detail because it was discussed in an executive session, but the commission also had requested some information related to Barstool. We have not received written documentation of those answers, and I spoke with Mr. Soriano, and it was his understanding that they're ready to provide additional information, but that they thought it would be in a meeting setting. So I'm happy to go back to him and ask for it in writing, or it can also be done in one of those two forums, in a public meeting or in an adjudicatory hearing related to suitability.
So, and also in terms of the calendar, Caitlin, what would be our outside date if we were to take the option of the adjudicatory hearing? Or, as the first option would be on the 14th, as I understand it.
Sure. I guess that would be up to the commission schedules. Honestly, Mr. Soriano has said that as soon as the request for the extension of the temp license comes in, at the same time, you're going to get the request for that hearing on durable suitability. So that will be presumably before December 12th. So you'll have it by the 12th, and it can be set up in January, but it's just a matter of scheduling at that point.
Yeah. So January 12th is their licensure expiration, right? Okay. All right. So Commissioner O'Brien, you have a question?
No, I think I was just going to put my voice in for the January all-at-once adjudicatory process. I think it makes the most sense, particularly given that we're going to be getting some info on the 14th. So I think it makes sense to get all of it, ask our questions, what we need to in executive session, and then do the adjudicatory hearing in January.
Commissioner Skinner?
I agree with that. I think that's the more efficient way to go. But I also had a process question just on the temporary license, the actual decisions. Will we be issuing those first? How do we sort of reconcile it, at least in the case of Penn, because that's what's immediately before us in the coming weeks? How do we begin to review durable suitability without closing out the temporary license decision?
So it's a good question, and they would be two separate processes. So by January 12th, we'll get the request for a renewal of the temporary license from PPC. And, you'll start seeing others come in from the other operators. That will be addressed by the commission as to whether or not to grant the renewal request in a public meeting. And that could happen very, very quickly, presumably. You could put that on a meeting. I don't think
Caitlin, that's because it's a straightforward process. Just you may wonder what the process is. Yeah.
Apologies. Yes, it's a very straightforward. For the second year renewal, it's a very straightforward process. They basically send in a one-page form. IEB will probably confirm that there have been no, I'm assuming this is the case, but there have been no significant changes to suitability or anything like that. And you'd move on and issue the renewal of the temp. That can happen presumably before the adjudicatory hearing. But even if it doesn't, it would be fine. You would just issue the durable before the technical renewal of the temp. Once they get the application in for the temp, you don't have to do it by January 12th. The application sort of extends the temp for the first year. So there's not a deadline of you have to review the application by the 12th. Does that make sense?
It does. And what about the actual written decision from the commission on the granting or I mean, I know in a couple of instances we put conditions on the temporary license. Will we see those decisions, those written decisions soon?
Yes, it's a great question. And one of the reasons why we're very thankful Justin has joined the legal department. He is working on getting those cleaned up and ready to get over to you. So you will have those decisions in relatively short order for review.
Thanks, Justin. Commissioner Skinner, I did ask Heather and Caitlin to provide on January 4th kind of a summary or overview of the entire process for the licensing. So what we got just now is brief, but I think they'll more formally explain it. And I think you feel that that's still timely, that we don't need to do it any earlier, but I'm going to leave that to Heather and Caitlin, unless the commissioners want something earlier. But that was what the target date was. Heather, we had talked about that a while ago, that might work to just set the stage, lay out the land of these renewals, and maybe actually go through a scheduling of some sort, either or plan on it for the next agenda setting. Is that helpful, Commissioner Skinner?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Okay. So does that mean then, commissioners, are comfortable that we just take 14 off for next Thursday, or do we need to do anything on that day with respect to ESPN?
We could take it off, Madam Chair.
Yep, all good, right? Okay.
May I ask, Chair, would the commission like written responses with regard to the questions related to Barstool in advance?
Yes, I would.
That would probably be most efficient too.
Yeah.
I think I didn't really check. I'm sorry, Commissioner Maynard. I didn't check in with you on the. I think I saw Commissioner Skinner saying it was most efficient, but you were good with going for the full adjudicatory hearing as well. I just
and what was the date we were thinking? It obviously later than the 14th.
I think I don't think it necessarily has to be later. I think Caitlin would work with with Trudy and with the Penn team to figure out the adjudicatory hearing, and then all the work that needs to be done in advance of the adjudicatory hearing. If there are dates that don't work,
No, I was just trying to figure out what the order of operations were. That was it.
Yeah, I think we don't have a set date yet, but it could be off our regular cadence too, right? As an adjudicatory hearing, unless it could be afterwards, but after another meeting. So we'll let Trudy and Caitlin work their magic on that. Okay, good. Right, and thanks for that. The new processes in place, so thank you. January 4th.
Madam Chair, before we go on to that,
I forgive me for not asking. Is there more to add to December 14th?
Unfortunately, I think there is. I do realize it's a very long agenda, but we get a couple of recent requests from the city of Springfield, from their Health and Human Services Department, to make a couple of modifications to their Community Mitigation Fund grants. And one of them is rather time sensitive.
Yep.
That's the youth gambling study that they're doing. And this will probably take a little bit more time than our typical modifications, only because the city of Springfield is actually asking for an increase in their grant amount, which we have not done before. You know, there's a lot of explanation to do that I will do in a memo, but so it is somewhat, you know, it's somewhat precedent setting here in doing that. And, you know, we'll put out in the memo all the reasons why they want to do that. But anyway, that we would like to do that on the 14th if we can.
Okay. Will you send the language to me, Joe? For that?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you. And make sure to CC Trudy and Mills, please.
Right. And I think, you know, just for I think probably about a half hour for those two items, just because the one might require a fair amount of discussion from the commission.
There's two separate matters.
Yeah, there's two separate ones. One is pretty simple. It's a little change in their scope, and moving a little bit of money around within the grant. The other one is a request for additional money on that grant. So, which is something that we have not really done before.
Okay.
And as I said, we'll outline everything in the memo, hopefully, and you know, that would be helpful for the city if that could certainly happen.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
One more, sorry.
Yes, I was teasing. I forgot to ask, but we're doing just fine on December 14th. Heather, what do you have?
Thank you, Chair. So this could actually be part of the administrative update. Burke would like to provide an update on the happenings at the casinos over the holidays, which I don't think will take very long. So I just wanted to flag that for the 14th.
We always like that one. Todd, are you okay adding that to your administrative update?
Burke and I will work something out. I think that'll be okay.
I like that. Okay. Commissioner Bryan, how's that day looking to you? Is there anything that you'd like me to move up?
I was wondering if you and I might be able to connect once we see exactly how long everything's going to take. Not that, I mean, I'm interested in all of it, but I think there are some things I could watch in the meeting after the fact.
Yeah.
So a little easier than some of the others. So once we have sort of the time sensing, maybe we can have a talk about.
No.
It's about 1 o'clock is sort of when I disappear. I might be able to be on the phone a little bit after that, but
it's feeling pretty good, Commissioner. For that
yeah, I mean, I hate
right?
to say it out loud that maybe without the CMF that we might be able to get through it with a 9:30 start, but I don't want to. I'm knocking on wood right now as I say that.
Yeah, that the CMF you may want to participate in that. Is what I'm thinking. So all right, I'll move it around. I haven't been religious about asking anybody about timing because I think we all have a kind of a gut sense about how this will go.
I'm wondering if they could email you and Trudy like their estimated time, just so we can be a little more precise. I don't want to.
Yeah, bog us down right now. The one thing I'm wondering about, Caitlin, is the waiver discussion.
I was thinking the same thing. I will check.
Yeah.
You know, that's the one where I just can't remember the number of outstanding waivers. There were a few, but maybe not more than 3.
Not a lot, but they were all individual. So I was anticipating a decent length of discussion on that when we were getting there. I mean, if timing is an issue, I don't think there would be an issue with potentially granting a waiver to January 4th or about, you know, and kind of taking it up again. I don't think that would be a huge deal.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And to the extent you can give me any timing on your particular piece, that I welcome it, because I'm guessing, not as good of a guesser as probably Crystal, Grace, and Trudy. So thank you for that.
Can I ask the 90-day audit? That was the other one that I didn't have sense on.
And we have to vote on that, correct, Bruce?
I think it's just the report itself. I don't know if it needs a vote.
Oh, okay. I don't, do you have an estimate, Bruce, of timing?
Maybe 20 minutes.
Legal, do you agree that it's not anything we have to vote on? It's just something we have to see? Todd?
I don't know exactly what this is, if it's a specific audit or just an overview.
It's an audit review on the computer systems, the safety of each licensee's system.
Oh, if it's a review of a specific licensee, I think the commission probably will have to take some action. I'd have to go back and look at the regulation.
Okay, that's helpful to know. If you could let us know. Right. Commissioner Skinner, were you taking your volume off?
No, I certainly don't want to speak for Bruce or Kristen, but if I remember correctly, the commission voted to approve those independent auditors. And so I think it's been a while since I've read the regulation, but I think the vote had to occur then with, I guess, the work being presented through this report that Bruce is talking about. And now there still may be the outstanding question as to whether the commissioners have to vote on it. But I think the language in the regulations was specific in that the commissioners had to approve the independent auditors. I don't remember the language relative to, I don't think that language is there relative to the report.
Yeah, that is correct. They did have to approve the auditors.
Earlier. So now we'll just find out, but I think Commissioner Skinner's raising the right point. Do we actually approve the audit itself or just the function having been performed? Okay, thanks. Anything else? All right. Anything else for 14? Okay. Then we turn to the new year. We will save an administrative update for you, Todd. Is there anything in particular you want to add now?
Well, maybe we can do that insurance one on the 4th.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll have an update about our lease that we can talk about on the 4th.
Yep. Publicly.
And then there may be one or two other things, but I think for now, those two will work.
Okay, and we don't anticipate another agenda setting meeting, just keep that in mind. That doesn't mean that we can't work behind the scenes to flesh out our agenda.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner?
The project team and I kicked around a potential update during Todd's review, administrative update on the licensee workforce and supplier diversity audit. We were thinking December 14th, but that seems to be a pretty jam-packed agenda. So if commissioners can wait for that update, we could do it on January 4th.
And would it be under Todd, or do you want it to be a standalone?
Yeah, it could perhaps be a standalone. I just thought that Todd's administrative update would be a good place for it, but I leave that to you, Madam Chair.
I don't mind it being either one. I just don't.
It can be a standalone then.
Okay, so that will be, we'll bring that out from under review. The diversity audit, number 8 under review, right?
Correct.
Thanks. I like that being on its own, if you don't mind, and then Todd will do the administrative update on the other two matters. We'll have placeholder for meeting minutes, and I'll add Commissioner Maynard's name there. Okay, regulations, I don't know if you have any ready for the 4th, Caitlin or Carrie?
I don't anticipate that we're going to have any for the 4th.
Starting off the new year that way? All right, sports wagering.
Yes, I know we're going to have at least one thing on customer support hours by WinBet. And my guess is we will probably have some other items by that time as well on house rules or something like that.
Because we won't have another agenda setting meeting, Bruce, you'll just have to keep, you know, you and
Yeah.
your team keep us apprised.
Yes,
And we'll figure out a way to communicate that. Okay, thanks.
yes.
All right, item number 6. That means,
Oh, good morning.
good morning.
Yes, if we could add Long to the representative on that, we're prepared to provide a report on reinstatement, as well as provide some numbers about who's reinstating.
Great. Commissioner O'Brien, you and I figured out that we should probably bring this forward in some kind of a public forum. Is January 4th the right date?
We can keep it there for now. If other things take precedence, we can move it. The only thing I was going to do also is whether there's anybody internally who has a graphic design background or interest. I'd love to put their name on this project too.
That's for the seal piece.
Yep.
You and I should probably coordinate what we want to see for that discussion, and perhaps have Mills help us too. He's been quite involved in the discussions around the illegal market. I know that we've got other stakeholders who, of course, are very involved in that too. So the Dave Souza, I don't know if that's an invitation on graphic art. I don't want to put him on the spot, but we can see. We'll keep it on for now, right, Commissioner? All right, and then we have the 2 committee updates on the screening committee updates from both. January 4th is still the right date, guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Commissioner Skinner, Commissioner Hill? Okay. Anything else for January 4th, team?
Chair, I do have one for January 4th. I think we'll be ready to do the update on the EVH plan at that point.
Is that going to be wrapped into the adjudicatory hearing that we just decided, though?
No, that's totally separate. This is the floor plan amendment.
Oh, EVH, I'm sorry, EVH.
Sorry, it's on, so the volume is off.
No, it's me. I'm hearing ESPN and EVH as the same thing. I've done it a couple of times. So the floor plan will come in. I think we had it under review, and it's going to be ready now, 14, to bring it up. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, on January 4th.
Yep, for January 4th. That's good news. Okay. I knew you weren't quite sure when we last spoke. Okay. On that date, can we add that discussion around the process for temporary licensure?
That sounds good to me, Chair.
Okay. And somebody will let me know who all the players will be, because I assume Karen needs to be involved. You know, who will be presenting, that will be helpful. And then we can lay out that roadmap a bit. Anything else for January 4th? Todd, is there anything else that you had on your mind that you want to add to this January 4th at this time? One matter that's come up, and I'm not sure if it's where it fits in terms of timing, but Caitlin, whether or not we actually have to with respect to a withdrawal.
Are
Are you still working on that?
into that? And we'd originally talked about possibly needing a notice of withdrawal. Because they actually have a license, we're now thinking the process may be different. Sorry, I haven't caught up with you on this. But we can talk about that later and figure out when that should get on the calendar.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. We'll go on to January 18th then. That's a Thursday, correct? Administrative update, we'll hold that placeholder unless you have something in mind, Todd, for right now.
No, nothing specific at the moment.
Okay. And the minute meetings, Commissioner Maynard? I'll add your name.
We'll have them on there.
Okay. Legislative update, Commissioner Hill will have submitted that letter theoretically. If we have a letter, I think we would have to share it. Unless
I think I lost you for a second.
well, I'm wondering about, again, the process, that legislative letter that Todd's putting together, that will be ready for December 14th. Todd, how can we, I suppose we could authorize Todd to execute it, to sign it, and then we wouldn't have the issue around the commissioners having to see it again. I'm thinking of your timetable for getting this letter, perhaps before the new year. Todd,
Well, with any luck, you'll be able to look at it on the 14th and, possibly authorize its execution then with some adjustments as
that's
necessary.
okay. But they
Yeah,
can't see in advance if we've looked at it, right?
I'm sorry.
If Commissioner Hill and I have looked at it, can we not share in advance? That's always that we just.
Well, I guess if you're expressing opinions in it, at this point, you wouldn't be. I wrote the letter. I mean, so, I think it's okay. I think.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, good. Then we could circulate that in advance. Good. Okay. Okay, and so right now we'll just hold on, as a placeholder, Commissioner Hill. Regulations. Caitlin.
We will have them. I don't know what they'll be yet, so I can fill you in as we get there.
For January 18th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sports wagering.
I'm sure we'll have something, but nothing at this time. Thank you.
Okay, and then item number 6, the player risk identification.
We will be prepared for January.
Okay. And you'll let me know who will be involved with that.
Yeah, I will be the lead on that. And I'll figure out how my team is involved with it too.
Okay. All
Madam
right.
Chair, I do have one additional item I'd like to add to that date if I could.
Sure.
We have a meeting this afternoon with the Springfield police chiefs and Springfield and surrounding community police chiefs and analysts. And so we should be ready to share the Springfield Public Safety Report on January 18th.
Commissioner O'Brien, you're all set on that? Good. If you could send me that language for both what you actually want on the agenda, that would be really helpful for both items, Mark. Thanks.
All right, I'll make sure I get the exact language right because I'm sure I don't have it in my mind right now.
Yeah, I want to make sure we have it right and who's presenting. Okay.
Certainly.
But good work. Thank you. Anything else for the 18th? Okay. Under review, the ILF process, continue to roll it over.
Yes, please.
Okay, the Compliance Committee, Commissioner O'Brien, maybe we can talk about that when we're talking about the other items that we need to connect on.
Yep.
The HCA, Host Community Agreement Compliance.
That's still ongoing,
Okay,
so we'll keep it under review for now.
I know, Mark, you wanted to comment on the casino job quality report.
That's right. At this point, I'd like to just even take that out from under review because it may be there was an issue with some of the data that we had. We're very close to the finish line. I'd actually hoped to put it under a date, but there was an issue with some of the data. We want to make sure that that is as accurate as we possibly can before we would bring that before the commission. So if we could just take that off for right now, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
It'll come back to the commission at a later date.
Yeah, and that's not an unusual development. We've had that before, where that's part of the whole process, right?
It's absolutely, it's absolutely part of the process. Yes.
That's right. Okay. Then we have the issue around bet restriction by the operator. I know, Crystal, you've been working on that with Director Ban. I don't know if she's on. Bruce?
I'm on. Andrew actually has been a little
okay.
more closely working on that.
Okay, good
It
to know.
transitioned a little.
Great, great to know. How are we on that, Bruce? Does that stay under review for now?
Yes, still under review.
Okay. And then you got that, the confidential information. Does that stay under review as well? I know you're working with legal on that.
Yeah, I think we can keep that under review for now.
Okay. We brought the diversity audit up, Commissioner Skinner. Now to January 4th. Good to go. Take it off here. Can always bring it back if need be. We have the 2 screening committee updates just as holds here, but I know we have one for January 4th. We'll keep it on under review as our reminder. 2023 annual report. I know that I'm working with Mills on that. Dave Souza, good work that was started by Grace. IEB director screen, we'll just keep that under review. The Springfield, we're going to take number 12 off. Dr. Lightbound, we have the RHDF and the escrow issue.
Yeah, I think we'll keep that under review too.
Okay. And then the IEB report, we've taken that off and we've added that. What was it now? Header 2. I want to make sure I got the date right for you. January 4th, or they're now ready. Yep. And then other items for under review.
Madam Chair, I've been in contact with Encore over the last several days, and it looks like the east of Broadway, they'll be putting a package together for us relatively soon. I don't have a schedule for that yet, so I think we should put that on under review. They've made their final submission to MIPA, which is working its way through the process. So I would expect probably sometime in late December or early January, getting some kind of a package from them, and then we can figure out where it fits.
And ultimate action, will it take a series of meetings, or what do you think?
I think we need to discuss process a little bit as well on what we want to do on this,
Okay.
So that might be a topic, maybe that's a topic we want to have on maybe January 4th or something, to have that discussion with the commission on what we want the process to be. And
assuming that we get that packet, and it sounds like.
Well, even if we don't get the packet, I think it would be good to button down the process.
Okay, so we'll put a January 4th, on January 4th, a process issue around.
Actually, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be here on January 4th. Now that I think about it, I am out that week. So I don't know. I think, well, we can figure it out. We can put a memo together and saying, these are what the options are. it's like, do we want to have an additional public hearing and a public meeting? And we'll need to dust off some of the older memos that we put together and do that. So I'll get some stuff out to the commission to take a look at.
Yeah, and if it turns out that we put that on January 18th, if that's too late and that's not timely, we can carve out maybe a single item.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be local that week. So I mean, if something had to be done on the 4th, I could certainly be available for that.
All right, well, keep me posted. And we can add it. The only reason why I say keep me posted is because we are not reconvening as an agenda setting, so we'll just have to navigate this loosely. And I assume everybody's still comfortable with not having another agenda setting meeting in between for the holidays.
Madam Chair, sorry, just clarification. Do we not have an agenda setting? Well, there's a hold for December 20th.
Oh, it's after that. Thank you, Commissioner Skinner. That's good. Thank you so much. It's after that. We don't have another one. All right. Thank you. I think there was a debate as to whether we should do the 20th. Everyone's good with the 20th. There, now I feel better. Okay. So that you'll have more information, Joe. And if it turns out.
Yep. If things move quicker, we'll readjust.
Okay, good. All right. Thanks, Commissioner Skinner, for helping me out on that. That was very helpful. Anything else for under review?
Madam Chair, I would like to add an update on Play My Way. We had I call it Play My Way report and update. There was an evaluation of the program by Dr. Michael Wall. I've asked him to come and share some information, and we can provide some updated information just about all 3 properties.
Okay. Anything else? So one item that I think we should probably return to, and maybe sooner than later, is the presentation that IEB and legal did for us last public meeting on the different levels of delegation. I think we I think the commission recognized maybe some work still to do on the higher level as we try to understand the efficiencies and also our own process, adjudicatory versus, and then whether the reg supports that, maybe tweaking the reg to support what we want. But I think we all understood that with respect to what is labeled category 1, those lower thresholds, that we recognized that we wanted to support the sports wagering division on that. There were some questions about the items that were set forth under category 1. And Commissioner Skinner, I'm thinking of you. You raised a question about the minors, being under that. So I'm wondering, does January 4th feel right to revisit that, or is it January 18th? I am aware that Director Band needs that policy from us, and I don't want to push it off. On the other hand, we want to make it as right as we can. It's a policy of sorts, so it's dynamic. We can always continue to revisit it. What do you think, commissioners and team? Todd?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the next step would be, what you're looking for at this point.
Well, I was going to say, I think IEB and sports wagering was going to refine maybe, so I don't know what are they coming back with something different than what we saw already? I mean, what is the next step?
I think that I heard that the document wasn't ready for prime time. That was kind of our conclusion. But I was thinking maybe to be helpful and efficient, that right now we concentrate on at least just category 1, with the understanding that there's another portion, perhaps, of the policy, but to zero in on that category 1 for the benefit of direct ban. What do you think?
And you know what else actually would be helpful, I think, for me and maybe for the other commissioners, is a sense of I keep calling it a docket sheet. I know, Bruce, you have another term that you use in terms of the tracking document that you have, but if we could have a mock-up, a sample, so that we can understand what's in there to make sure we have enough to make it informative without causing issues for adjudicatory bias later.
I would actually like to set up 2x2s or one-on-ones to show you
For
that.
that.
We're meeting with Commissioner Skinner Friday and to show her, and then maybe next week to meet with the rest of you to give you an idea of what's in there. We met with legal yesterday, so we had the clearance from them. So
you have clearance about the adjudicatory bias
yeah.
issue? So there's that piece. And then I think what I'm looking for is a revision of 1/3 of the memo to at least tackle what seemed to be, we seemed a little bit clearer on, and we understood the bottleneck. And does that make sense, or commissioners? Well, given that I'm still pretty good at reading boxes, I see a couple nods of heads. Commissioner Hill, you're all set. Commissioner Skinner, you're all set.
Sorry. Could I just quickly note something? We can certainly adjust the document. And I think in the meantime, my thought was we would just continue to follow the same process that we've been doing, which is, when there's a kind of a category 2 that's been referred to the IEB, then we would, like I said, do the same process that we have been. We would do a report, send it to the commission, and then the commission could decide in the public meeting how it wished to proceed. That's what we've done with the last several. So I think in the interest of consistency, we would continue to do that until we ultimately get the document revised and get it approved by the commission.
Like what we're doing for the DraftKings one, right, Heather? Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for that clarification on 2 and 3. I was just thinking of that document for category 1, and again, helping get a written policy for Bruce.
I would like to add that the meeting on the 4th might be a little tight, especially given that I think a lot of folks probably are out the week before when we usually like put materials to the commission. So that could be the 18th.
The 18th? Does the 18th work okay, Bruce?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. And Caitlin, do you have any other update on regulatory changes that you want to address now, or no?
Oh, apologies for the 18th, or
under review or anything else.
There are some regs that we're going to be looking into bringing back. In particular, one of them is 256.044, which relates to restrictions on certain types of advertising by employees or third-party marketing affiliates of operators. So we are going to be looking into that and bringing that back. So we can put that under review, Chair, if you'd like to do that.
Okay. Caitlin, could you repeat the citation?
Sure. So 256.044, and that may also implicate some changes in the internal controls. Basically, we're looking at that reg, seeing how it's working practically now in the current environment, whether there's any type of amendments that we would like to propose that the commission make to that reg, and then that may also result in some amendments to internal controls. The other type of thing that we'd be looking at in the same context, in addition to types of restrictions on advertising and having third-party affiliates or employees advise or encourage wagers or bets, would relate to some of the issues we've seen about moving lines, and what is the commission's role in having internal controls to prohibit an operator from sort of intentionally moving a line or something along those lines. So those are two bigger items, but we're going to be looking into those, bring them back to you shortly.
Thank you for that. Any other issues to add for under review?
Madam Chair. On November 2nd, we were out in Springfield and we had a great meeting. But there was an issue that came up, which was the railing, which we really appreciated to help stop underage folks, minors hitting the floor. But something that happened obviously was that the ingress and egress to GameSense was kind of prohibited. And I'm interested in finding out where that is now, what the update's been, and potentially getting an update from Mark and MGM if possible, because I really expressed a strong interest that day that there be no barriers between the floor, a section of the floor, a small section of the floor, and the GameSense office, because I want GameSense to be able to continue to do the good work that they do. And I think the entire commission was aligned on that day.
Commissioner, I could speak briefly to that. I know that Burke Kane has been in communication with both MGM and Mark Vanderlinden, so we could certainly collectively provide an update with respect to that issue. But that has certainly been lines of communication have, I think, flowed on that. So just so you know.
Could we move that to December 14th? I feel there's a degree of urgency there, right, Commissioner Maynard?
Burke, I would defer to Burke and Mark Vanderlinden on that.
We can certainly, it's fine by me to add it to December 14th.
Burke, you know what? I can't tell if you're speaking, your microphone's off, but we're not hearing you. It looked like you were speaking.
I was. It looked like I must have hit that mute button on the little controls panel there.
It happens.
Yes. Mark and I have talked about it. I've talked about it with Daniel on site there. There is a opening along that walkway to South End Market. Perhaps it could be slid down. I think Mark and I have preliminarily spoken about it and put it towards the front entrance of the GameSense area.
Okay, I think it would be worthwhile having MGM address the issue as well.
Right.
Yeah, I think let's bring it forward on December 14th, and if the commission needs to, you know, support Commissioner Maynard's words at that date, it'll be timely, I think. Right, Commissioner Maynard?
I would already say that the commission was pretty strong on it, every commissioner that day. Yeah. And we had a chance to see with our own two eyes the issue.
Right, and we discussed this a bit yesterday in our working group. There were also the machines for the ticket machines that were there. Are those still there, Burke?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So it's not simply the railing, but also those machines that really are a ball.
Block the visual, right?
You block the visual, Commissioner O'Brien, exactly. So Commissioner Maynard thank you for bringing it up. He is reiterating what we did address November 2nd. In the meeting and after the meeting, as we were shown, we were given a tour out to our car. At least a couple of us were. Okay. I think everybody had a chance to probably view it personally, but I can't remember that. All right, Mark and Burke will put it on and Heather for an update December 14th.
I can circle around with Daniel Miller to make sure that he's aware as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, as will I. Thanks.
Thanks so much. All right, anything else for under review? Okay, commissioners, are we all set? And Commissioner Bryan, you and I can talk about your day for that day The 9:30 start is important. I don't think anyone has a problem with that. With that, motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Thanks, Commissioner Skinner. Any discussion? Thanks, everyone, for all your good work, organization. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill. I saw his hand go up there.
Aye.
Oh, and feel better. We're feeling your pain. Commissioner Skinner,
Aye.
Commissioner Maynard.
Aye.